Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top five are correct, then make predictions for next week's top five. So let's get right on into it. Last week, I predicted that number one would be Maze Runner, The Death Cure. Number two would be Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Number three would be 12 Strong. Number four would be Den of Thieves. And number five would be The Post. And I got 3 out of 5 of my predictions right, which is much better than last weekend. At least I got the majority of my picks right, but there was one that did surprise me about this top five, so let's go over what happened in the overall top 10. Number one was Maze Runner, The Death Cure. Now, compared to the last two Maze Runner films, this movie did not open as big as that. It's just a little $10 million away from that, though. It made $23 million on its opening weekend, and on the worldwide chart, it is already off to $105 million, and considering that its budget is $62 million, it's not too far away from actually doubling that, and that's pretty good for this movie. It's a pretty good start to a film I was a little concerned about. Maybe not too many people would be interested to see this one anymore, but they still are, and that's very good because I did think it was a good movie. I actually had to go see it again, and I didn't mind at all. It was still very good. So I'm glad that this movie is getting some good attention so far, even if it was delayed for a bit. Number two is Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Finally, no longer at the number one spot, back to its place at number two, making $16 million, adding to a domestic total of $338 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $822 million. It's so crazy how close this movie is to making like $1 billion. It needs $178 million more, and then it's there. It's crazy. I don't think it'll be able to, because I think it's starting to die down a little bit, but honestly, stranger things have happened with this film and other films that I've covered, so maybe there is a chance that Jumanji gets to $1 billion before it leaves. Number three, I did not expect to make it in the top five because not too many people were talking about it, but it's Hostiles, the film that was limited release for a while in 2017. Now it's expanded. It made $10 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $12 million. The budget is $50 million, and it's nowhere close to the doubling point, so this is another one of those films that kind of came out trying to get some Oscars, and it came out like, I believe, yeah, the Oscars came out this weekend, so it was trying to kind of piggyback on maybe we'll get an Oscar nom, and then when we expand, more people will see our movie, but obviously that didn't really happen. Kind of sucks because I thought maybe the movie could be good. I haven't seen it yet, obviously. But moving on to number four, we have The Greatest Showman, making $9 million, adding to a domestic total of $126 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $259 million. Last weekend, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was at number five, and I thought for sure it was going to leave the top five, but it's at number four now. Like, what is happening with this movie? Why is this movie continuing to surprise me with places that it's at? But instead of The Greatest Showman being at number five, we have The Post at number five, making $8.8 million, and on the domestic total, it is at $58 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $83 million. So it needs $17 million more to get to $100 million, which is the doubling point of its budget. I think because of I think Meryl Streep getting nominated. I don't know if The Post was nominated for Best Picture or not. I forgot, but I know Meryl Streep was nominated. So I think that there will be some attention as far as that goes. More people will want to see this film. And the movie's doing pretty well for itself as the weeks go by, so I don't think this movie will not get to $100 million worldwide, at least. Number six, we have 12 Strong, which had a pretty big drop, if you ask me, but it has made $8.6 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $29 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $35 million, which is technically halfway to its doubling point of $70 million. So maybe it'll get there. Honestly, I'm not so sure at this point because domestically it's not doing that well, and worldwide doesn't really seem to be helping too much, so I think it'll leave the top 10 without getting to that point. But, as I've said earlier, stranger things have happened in box office talk videos before, so we'll just have to wait and see, honestly. Number 7 is Den of Thieves, making $8.3 million, adding to a domestic total of $28 million. Once again, like 12 Strong, this had a pretty big drop, in my opinion, that I wasn't really expecting. Once again, I didn't think Greatest Showman would stick around, but Den of Thieves and 12 Strong just didn't have as much staying power as that movie did. Den of Thieves is also just about $2 million away from its budget of $30 million, but it still needs to get to a doubling point of $60 million to be considered a success, and I just don't think it'll get there unless worldwide numbers just miraculously come out of nowhere. Number 8 is The Shape of Water, which expanded into more theaters because of the Oscar buzz. It made $5.7 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $37 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $51 million. It was finally able to get to its doubling point of $39 million and get 12 million over that, and I'm sure more money to come because this movie's a pretty big contender. I am very happy with this because I love this film. I was a little disappointed when it originally came out. Now that more people are aware of this movie's existence, however, I'm glad more people are seeing it. Number 9, we have Paddington 2 making $5.5 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $185 million. Now, domestically, it makes up about $32 million of that, but honestly, for Paddington, we should really just look at the worldwide numbers because that's where it's mostly successful, making $85 million over its doubling point of $100 million. Very good for Paddington 2. It's about to leave the top 10 though, and I haven't seen the movie, so I don't really have much to say on it. So let's just close out this video going to number 10, which is Padmavat. I don't know what this movie is at all, but it made $4 million on a budget that Wikipedia says is 190 crore. Um, cool. Now moving on to the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5, and I'm going to predict that number 1 is Winchester, mainly because my number 2 prediction, Maze Runner: The Death Cure, since it didn't really open as huge and even a little less than the other 2 Maze Runner films, I think Winchester is going to be that perfect horror film that drops and people will flock to the theaters to see. But number 3, I think, will be Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, number 4, Hostiles, and number 5, The Greatest Showman. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.